we'll use it in the first few minutes of class. So, all right, getting yourself settled on your back. And if you want, you can take a heart opener with your block. We won't be here for that long, but if you feel like it, you can take your block under kind of your mid-back and lay down onto it, getting a nice little heart opener here. And then whatever you choose to do with your block, let your arms go wherever it feels good. Maybe down by your sides, maybe back over your head. That can give you a nice little shoulder opener. Then just allow your eyes to close. Start to let go of your morning. Let go of anything that is happening after this. Allow any extra thoughts that don't have to do with your yoga practice to melt away on each exhale. As your mind starts to clear a little bit more, you can start to focus on your breath. Noticing first just how it is this morning, not changing anything quite yet, but just observing your inhales, observing your exhales. When you feel ready, you can start to deepen your breath, extending the amount of time it takes to breathe in and the time it takes to breathe out. Allow the breath to move into the sides of the body, the belly, the back of the body as much as possible. Just take about 5 more breaths right here. After you finish your 5 breaths, you can gently blink your eyes open and then find a way to remove your block out from under you. So you might come up to your forearms if you used it. Then once you remove it, just lay back down. Bring your hands to the outsides of your knees and draw them together and give yourself a little hug, maybe rock it side to side. Just taking a few seconds to notice how the fronts of your hips feel today, how your back feels. And then from there, grab your block. We'll place it in between the thighs, finding our tabletop position in the legs. So we'll work into the obliques a little bit. We'll be twisting some in the practice today. So this is just to start to get the back warmed up. Let your arms go out to the sides in a capital T shape, palms down. Make sure the knees are straight out from the hips, 90-degree bend in the legs. From here, take an inhale. As you exhale, carry the legs over to the right side. Keep your left shoulder anchored and hover the legs off the floor. So you should feel a really strong muscle engagement here in the abs, as well as your inner thighs. Keep squeezing that block. On an inhale, bring your legs back through center. And then exhale, carry them over to the left. Same thing, hover them. Keep your right shoulder anchored. Inhale, bring them back through center. Feel your back nice and broad on the floor. And then exhale, carry them to the right. This time, keeping them hovering, inhale, extend one or both legs. Notice how that challenges the core a little bit more. Exhale, bend both legs, and then inhale, bring it back through center. Exhale, carry to the left. Inhale, extend one or both legs. Exhale, bend both legs. Inhale, bring it back to center. One more round. Exhale to the right. Inhale, extend. Bend as you exhale, and then inhale back to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bend. And inhale back to center. As you exhale, gently remove your block from your legs and just draw your knees into your chest. Notice if your back feels any different now, also if your core feels any different. From here, keep your right knee drawn in, left leg extends long onto the mat. Extend your right leg to the ceiling. So we're simulating a standing balance we'll do later. Allow your left arm to come out to a capital T shape and your right peace fingers to grab around your right big toe. If it doesn't make it there, you can grab the inside of your calf or even bend your leg and grab over the knee. On an inhale, start to carry your right leg over to the right side, making sure that it hovers off the mat and your left side stays anchored. So we don't want to let the hips come off the floor. Keep flexing your right foot as if you're standing on a floor underneath that foot. Keep pressing your right toe into your fingers. One more round of breath. Next inhale, carry that leg back to center. And as you exhale, gently release that leg and draw your left leg into the chest, right leg long on the mat. From there, extend your left leg to the ceiling. We'll do the same on this side. So right arm goes to capital T, left peace fingers go to your big toe or somewhere else that works to grab the leg. On an inhale, start to carry the left leg to the left side. Keep the right side anchored as if you are standing on that foot. The core is really strong. You're pressing the left toes into the left fingers to stabilize you. One more round of breath. Inhale, start to carry the left leg back to center. And then exhale, draw both knees into your chest, grabbing underneath the hamstrings. From here, we'll just rock and roll about 4 or 5 times. Letting this rock and roll really massage the spine. You can gain a little bit of momentum. And then after your 4th or 5th time, we'll make our way to tabletop position. However it feels good to get there. Maybe you roll over the shins, maybe you swing the legs around. Once you come to your tabletop, make sure the hands are right underneath the shoulders, the knees are right underneath the hips. The core is strong here, so we have that flat back. Moving into cow and cat, inhale, drop the belly, bring the gaze high, really arch through the spine, open through the collarbone. And as you exhale, curl into your cat. Feel the core activate. Press the tops of your feet into the floor. Inhale, drop the belly, bring the gaze high. And exhale, curl into your cat. One more round. Inhale, drop the belly, bring the gaze high. And then exhale, curl into your cat. Inhale, come back to just a neutral spine, so flatten everything out. Reach your right fingertips forward, left leg reaches back, so we're finding that balance here on one hand, one knee. Take an inhale, and then exhale, curl underneath you, bring your elbow to your knee, really contract through the core. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. And then inhale, extend. As you exhale, left toes come to the floor, right hand comes down. We walk ourselves towards the left side of our mat to find our gate latch legs. On an inhale, bring your shoulders up to stack over the hips, arms come to a capital T shape. As you exhale, it's left hand to left leg, right hand reaches up and over. So we're finding a deep side bend here. Imagine you're kind of in your reverse warrior, so you're really lifting through the right side of the rib cage. Your gaze can go up towards that right hand. One more round of breath. Final inhale. As you exhale, we're going to take our right arm up and over as if you're doing a cartwheel to bring both hands to the front of your mat. Pivot on your knee and let your left knee come in. We're back in our tabletop position. We'll take all of that to the other side. So reach your left fingertips forward, right leg reaches back. Take an inhale to find your balance, and then exhale, contract, elbow to knee underneath you. Inhale, extend long. Exhale, contract. Inhale, extend. Exhale, contract. And then inhale, extend. Exhale, right toes come to the floor, left hand comes down. We walk to the right side of our mat this time, pivoting to find our gate latch legs. Inhale, come upright, shoulders stack over the hips, arms to capital T. Then exhale, right hand to right leg, left fingertips up and over, finding your deep side bend here. This time, imagine you're creating space between the bottom of your left rib cage and your right or left hip. One more round of breath. Final inhale. Now same transition here. As we exhale, left arm leads you up and over as if you're doing a cartwheel to square everything to the front of the mat. Pivot and then bring both knees in, finding our tabletop once more. From here, inhale, tuck your toes. Then exhale, send the hips high, downward dog. Take your time in this down dog. Maybe pedal out the feet, one then the other. Maybe bending each knee, kind of feeling that stretch in the ankles, the Achilles area. Take about one more full round of breath, whatever movement feels good. Now find stillness in your dog. Let the heels lengthen towards the mat. Really activate the quads. Find that tip of the pelvis so the tailbone's to the ceiling. Then just check that you have your palms and all 10 fingers really pressing into the mat. From here, bring your gaze forward. Start to walk your feet to the top, ending in our rag doll. So hip width distance in those feet. Generous bend in the legs. Let the torso hang nice and heavy. Whatever movement here might feel good, also whatever arms feel good. So maybe opposite elbows, maybe interlaced behind the head. Make sure that neck is really relaxed here, so as if there's a weight hanging from the crown of your head. Take about 2 more rounds of breath. Final inhale. Exhale, gently release your arms, bend your knees, and roll up through the spine nice and slow. Let your head be the last thing to come up. Then take a big shoulder roll up and back once you arrive. Step your feet together underneath you. Establish your Tadasana, mountain pose. Root down through the legs, up through the crown of the head, and reach the arms down by the sides, palms forward. On an inhale, reach your arms up, let your gaze follow, and exhale, hands come to heart center. Take a moment, bow your chin, close your eyes, set an intention for your practice this morning. Taking one breath to seal that intention, take a deep inhale through the nose, and open mouth, exhale. Seal the lips, breathe in and out through the nose, find your Ujjayi breath, finding that slight constriction at the back of the throat. Remember that constriction is what creates our sound when we breathe, that oceanic sound. Once you establish your Ujjayi breath, gently blink your eyes open and we'll move into our Sun A. Inhale, reach the arms high. This is our Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Then exhale, plant your palms, step back into a high plank. Pausing here in our first high plank, make sure you're pressing the floor away from you. There's that slight doming in the shoulders and your legs are really active here. On an inhale, you may shift yourself forward slightly. Then on an exhale, we lower all the way down to our bellies with control. So keep the elbows hugging into the body. Untuck your toes once you arrive. Inhale, find a baby cobra, lifting that top part of the chest off the mat. Make sure the feet are pressing down. Maybe hover those hands. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, release the chest down. Now from here, 2 options. Your hands are by your ribs. You can tuck those toes, engage the legs, and inhale, press to a high plank, or you can press through your tabletop position. Whichever way feels best. On our exhale, we'll make our way to our downward dog. Take 3 full breaths in this down dog. One more round of breath. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet to the top of the mat. Make sure your toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale to find your halfway lift, lengthen your spine, and exhale, forward fold. On your next inhale, come all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, fingertips reach to the ceiling. As you exhale, we'll cactus the arms. So pull the elbows down, find a lift of the heart, baby back bend here. Next inhale, take out the back bend, reach both fingertips high. And then exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Then exhale, plant the palms, step back into your Chaturanga, seeing if you can do it all on your exhale. Treating this Chaturanga as a posture, make sure the legs are active, hug the elbows in. On an inhale, pull the chest through, come to your upward facing dog. Make sure the kneecaps are off the floor, you're really opening through the heart. And then exhale, send the hips high, downward dog. 2 full breaths. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet to the top of the mat. Maybe try hopping. Once you arrive, inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Then exhale, forward fold. One more round of Sun A. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. We cactus into our back bend. On our exhale, pull the elbows down, shine the heart up. Inhale, reach the arms high again, take out the back bend. And exhale, hinge forward over the hips, find your forward fold. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the spine. And exhale, take your Vinyasa. So however you would like to move through your flow. Remember, you can go slow, you can go one breath, one movement, you can eliminate the Chaturanga. Lots of different ways to move through it. Eventually, when you reach your downward dog, you'll take 2 full Ujjayi breaths. Make sure you're still breathing in and out through the nose. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch underneath you. Inhale is our halfway lift, lengthen the spine. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana, bend the legs, reach the arms down and then to the ceiling. Make sure you're squeezing your legs together underneath you. The weight is shifted slightly to the heels. You might be able to hover your 10 toes off the floor. Take just one more inhale here, sit a little bit deeper in this chair. Then exhale, forward fold, release over the legs. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the spine. And exhale, Vinyasa, move through your flow, making sure that you're keeping your movement coordinated with your breath. So no matter how fast or slow you go, the breath always initiates the movement. Once you reach your downward dog, inhale, right leg high. We'll take our three-legged dog here. So you can open the hip and bend the knee. Just taking a moment, whatever movement feels good. You might feel a stretch through the front of that right hip. One more round of breath. Next, inhale, straighten the right leg, square off the hips. Then exhale, step your right foot through between your hands, setting up for warrior one. Left heel spirals to the floor, and we inhale, reach the arms up. Checking on our form on this first warrior one. Make sure your right hip is back, left hip is forward. Low abs are active to lengthen the lower back. See if you can press your left pinky toe into the floor. Take one more inhale, maybe take a gentle back bend. And then exhale, hands come down to frame the foot, find your low lunge. From here, we're working into our side plank. Left side is our base. So start to shift your weight over to the outside of the left foot. Right leg eventually comes back to hover over the left leg. See if you can keep that right leg in the air. Right fingertips reach up. One more round of breath. Next inhale, we find our three-legged high plank. So right hand comes down, right leg stays up. As we exhale, maybe you take a three-legged chaturanga. You can always bring that foot to the floor as well. On an inhale, both feet come down for our upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. One round of breath. Next inhale, left leg goes high. Find your three-legged dog on this side. So open the hips, bend that knee. Take whatever movement feels good here. One more breath. Next inhale, we'll straighten that leg, square off the hips. And then exhale, step the foot through between the hands, setting up for our Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1 on our second side. As you inhale, reach the fingertips up. See if you can find that good form right off the bat, that pulling back of the left hip, engagement of the abs, right pinky toe into the floor. Take one more inhale, baby back bend. And then exhale, low lunge, hands frame the foot. Now right side will be our base this time, working into side plank. So start to roll to the outside of that right foot and inhale, start to find that side plank. Taking whatever variation you did with your top leg on this side, seeing if you can hover it. One more round of breath. Next inhale, we find our three-legged plank. So left hand comes down, left leg stays up. Then exhale, chaturanga. Maybe you keep that left leg lifted. Inhale, pull the chest through. Find your upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. 2 full breaths here. Bring your gaze forward, travel your feet to the top of the mat, toes come to touch. Inhale as our halfway lift, lengthen, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose again, Utkatasana, bend the legs, reach the arms up. Make sure the hips are sitting nice and low. As you exhale, bring your right arm back, left arm forward, twisting towards the right side. Pull the left knee and hip back. If you want to go a little deeper, you can start to reach the left fingertips towards the outside of the right foot to find that revolved chair. If you establish that, make sure you haven't let the left side creep forward. Keep the core strong, keep extending through the top of your head. One more round of breath. Next inhale, both fingertips reach up again, square everything off in the middle. Exhale, left arm back, right arm forward, twist the opposite way. If you took it deeper on this side, feel free to reach your right fingertips to the outside of your left foot, eventually hooking that elbow. If you do that, make sure the right knee and hip are still pulling back. Keep extending through the top of the head. One more round of breath. Next inhale, both fingertips reach high again. We're back in our traditional chair. Then exhale, forward fold. Release over the legs. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the spine. And exhale, vinyasa. Move through your flow. Remembering you can always skip a vinyasa as well. Once you reach your downward dog, inhale, right leg lifts high. Exhale, step through between your hands, keeping a low lunge this time. Let your back knee come down to the floor, untuck those toes, and inhale, find your Anjaneyasana. So here we're targeting that left hip a little more. Think about your pelvis being really heavy. Take another inhale. Maybe you find a little back bend. Notice how that increases your stretch. As you exhale, we're working into our half splits, our Ardha Hanumanasana. Shift your weight towards your left leg. Flex your right toes. Make sure you're pulling that right hip up and back here. And make sure you're supporting with your hands. This is one where, at least for me, I don't like to have my right leg bearing much weight. I want to be able to stretch that leg safely. So keep that quad activated. Keep flexing those toes. Let your hands be a point of balance here. You have a couple more breaths. Try to keep your spine long, collarbone towards the toes. Final inhale, final exhale. Inhale, start to bend into your right leg, working into our lizard next. So both hands come inside of that right foot, toe heel the foot outward slightly. And today, feel free to take whatever variation you want. So you might come down to your forearms, you might reach back and grab the outside of your left foot for a quad stretch. You have about 4 breaths here. Two more breaths. Final inhale. If you have your foot, gently release it as you exhale. Everyone comes back to their hands. Both feet are still inside of that right foot. Tuck your left toes, engage the leg, kneecap comes off the mat. From here, as you inhale, lift your right foot off the floor, but keep that knee in contact with the right tricep. This should engage the obliques a little more. We hold this for 1 full round of breath. Next inhale, step your right foot back to meet the left, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Hold the elbows into the body. Inhale, pull the chest through, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward dog. 1 round of breath right here. Inhale, left leg goes high. Exhale, step through between your hands, keeping your low lunge position. Right knee comes down, untuck those toes, and we inhale to our Anjaneyasana, reaching the arms high. Find that same feeling on this side, so that heavy pelvis so that you can feel the stretch through the front of the right leg. On our next inhale, you might take a little back bend. Notice how that increases the stretch. And then as we exhale, we make our way to our half split. So hands come down, shift back towards that right leg and flex the left foot. Keeping the spine long, core is still active here. You should feel that stretch in the hamstring as well as the calf, especially if you pull those toes back towards you. You have a few more breaths here. Final round of breath. Next inhale, start to bend into your left leg, working into our lizard. So both hands inside the foot, toe heel the foot outward slightly. Then take whichever variation you did on the first side. Maybe hands, forearms, grabbing the foot. You have another 4 breaths here, just targeting the front of that right leg. Deep inhales and exhales. Make sure you still have your Ujjayi breath here. Even in our stretches, we want to maintain that controlled inhale and exhale. One final inhale here. Then exhale, gently release your foot if you have it. Everyone comes to their hands, both hands inside the left foot. Tuck your right toes, engage the leg, kneecap off the mat. As we inhale, we keep that knee in contact with the tricep. Just hover the left toes off the floor. Really engage your obliques here, engage that hip flexor, 1 round of breath. Next inhale, step your left foot back to meet the right, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, chest comes through, upward dog. And exhale, downward dog. We get 3 cleansing breaths in our down dog before we move on. So take a deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, let it go. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Final inhale. And exhale, let it go. Seal the lips, breathe in and out through the nose. Create that Ujjayi breath once more. And on your next inhale, reach that right leg high. Start to open the hip, bend the knee. As you exhale, you might flip your dog, letting that right foot come down, pivoting on the ball of the left foot and lifting the hips up nice and high. See if you can reach those right fingertips back overhead. One full round of breath. Next inhale, we unflip our dog. Right hand comes down, right leg reaches up. As we exhale, we're moving to our fallen triangle. So bring the right leg across the body. Extend that leg outward. Two options. You can either keep the foot on the floor or you can lift it up to engage the adductor. Take one full round of breath here. Next inhale, we're back to our three-legged dog. Left hand comes down, right leg reaches up. Exhale, crunch knee to nose. Just find that contraction in the core. Now keep this contraction, step your right foot through between your hands. Left heel stays off the mat, and we inhale to our crescent lunge. Take the same checks here that you would in a warrior one. Pull your right hip back, engage the low abs, really activate that back leg, back of the knee to the ceiling. From here, bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, prayer twist, left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Now from here, you might extend your arms, reaching the left fingertips to the floor, right fingertips to the ceiling. One more round of breath. Now on our next inhale, we're exalting our crescent lunge. So let the right fingertips guide you back. They come to the back of the left leg, left fingertips reach up. Now as you exhale, we keep making that circle. Left arm swims back, and we find our warrior two. Capital T in those arms, bend nice and deep into that right leg. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, reach your right fingertips up and back. Now that same cartwheeling motion we took on the floor at the beginning of our practice, we're doing here. So as you exhale, right hand leads you up and over like a cartwheel. Left hand comes to the floor. We shift into our revolved half moon. Lifting that right leg, or left leg off the mat. Right leg is grounding down, right fingertips reach high. One full round of breath here. Final inhale. Exhale, Shiva squat. You can keep your fingertips down on the mat. Now from here, as we inhale, we're finding our half moon, so our normal one. Start to open the hips to the left side. Left leg extends again. This time stacking left side over right, right fingertips towards the floor. Now see if you can contract your left side, lengthen the right. Maybe hover your right fingertips. We have one more inhale here. As we exhale, we're finding extended side angle. So bend that right leg, let the left leg reach back behind you. From there, left arm sweeps across the body. If you want to bring elbow to thigh, feel free. Make sure you're still contracting that left side, lengthening the right. One more round of breath. On our next inhale, come all the way up. Then straighten that right leg and pivot the toes, setting up for our prasarita. So feet are parallel to each other. From here, bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, open up through the heart. And exhale, fold it forward. Allow the hands to come to the floor once you arrive. Fingertips pointing forward, hands basically between the heels. Make sure they're shoulder width distance. Reach the crown of the head to the floor. Keep shifting your weight towards the toes. Hips are lifted up nice and high. You have a few breaths here. Final round of breath. Start to walk your hands underneath your face. On an inhale, find a halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Bring your hands to your hips, stand all the way up. Now from here, make your feet slightly narrower, so probably one toe heel. Pivot your right toes to face the front of your mat. Arms come to our capital T, setting up for our triangle, our Trikonasana. Start to reach your right fingertip forward as you inhale. Left hip reaches back. Then exhale, tip into your triangle. See if you can keep that equal length on both sides of your body. Keep the right leg active, so we're engaged in the quadricep. One round of breath here. Next inhale, initiate from the left obliques, bring your body all the way up. Now as we exhale, we're moving to our one-legged Tadasana. So shift your weight towards that right leg. Left knee draws into the chest, hands reach high. As you exhale, bring your right hand to your hip, left peace fingers to the left big toe, or grabbing the front of that left knee. If you have peace fingers to big toe, you extend that leg. If you have hand on knee, you keep it right there. Now before we move, make sure your left shoulder and hip are plugging back, so we're not reaching forward with that side. On your next inhale, start to carry the leg to the left. We already took this shape on the floor today, so see if you can find that same anchored feeling of the right side. So as that left leg is moving to the side, the right hip is pulling back to help square everything off. If this feels pretty good, you can shift your gaze to the right. You have one more round of breath. Now start to bring your gaze back to center. From here, we're guiding our leg into our tree pose. So bending that knee, bringing the sole of your foot to your inner thigh, or lower if that feels better. Once you establish your tree pose, bring your hands to heart center. Make sure the left glute is active, still finding that external rotation. Right hip is still pulling back in opposition. Now from here, we might work into a side bend today if you want. So reach your fingertips to the ceiling, keep that drishti. From here, left hand comes to the top of the left thigh. This is going to be key in our oppositional balance here. Start to press that hand into the thigh as you press the right hip to the right, simultaneously reaching the right fingertips up and forward, over. So it's all about sending your hips one way, the fingertips the other way, and that hand pressing down on the leg to really find that rooted right leg. One more round of breath. Breathe into the right side of your rib cage. Next inhale, moving everything at the same time. Bring yourself back to the middle, finding your normal tree. Both fingertips reach up, then bring them to heart center. Inhale, draw your left knee into the chest, one-legged Tadasana. And exhale, left foot meets the right Tadasana, hands in Samasthiti. One round of breath right here. Next inhale, reach the arms high, let the gaze follow. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, forward fold. Toe heel your feet to hip width distance. We'll take Padangustasana here, big toe forward fold. So peace fingers wrap in and around those big toes. Remember, you can have a gentle bend in the knees here. Take an inhale to lengthen your spine. And then exhale, pull yourself forward with your arms. Allow the crown of the head to relax towards the floor. Weight is shifted towards those toes. You have about 3 more breaths here. Final inhale. And exhale, gently release the hands from the feet. From here, we have a chance to work into our Bakasana, our crow pose today. Yay. So those hands plant about a foot in front of the feet. From there, start to shift your weight forward, bending those elbows like chaturanga. Come high on the toes so that your knees can make contact with the top part of your tricep. Once you do that, make sure the low abs are active. Shift your weight forward. Lift the tailbone up as you squeeze the insides of your feet together and pull the heels towards the glutes. Take a couple more breaths here. Or tip over like I just did. It's always fun to fall forward in crow. One more round of breath. Gently release your feet to the floor if you haven't already. And then just straighten the legs, let the chest drop down. Take a little cha-cha side to side if that feels good. And then toe heel the feet back to touch underneath you. Finding our traditional forward fold here. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Then exhale, plant the palms, step back into your high plank. Pause for an inhale in your high plank. Then we lower all the way to the floor as we exhale. Keep that control. Untuck the toes once you arrive. From here, take the hands back behind you to interlace the fingers. Zip the legs up behind you and press the tops of the feet into the floor. On an inhale, lift your chest up and start to reach your hands towards the back of the mat. Make sure your arms aren't in contact with the back of your body. Keep the legs zipped up. If you're ready, you can lift the legs up as well. Notice how it's a little harder when the legs are together. We have 2 more breaths here in this locust. Final inhale. And exhale, release it all down. Bring your hands by the side of your rib cage. Inhale, press to your child's pose. So send those hips back. Moment here, this can be a wide-legged child's pose, or you can keep the legs together, letting the backs of your hands come by your sides and finding a shoulder release. You have just 2 rounds of breath here. From here, start to reach your hands back forward again. On an inhale, move through your tabletop position, and exhale, downward dog. You get a couple breaths here, so if you need to find your Ujjayi breath again, please do. Try to reset that mind, remind yourself of your intention, because we have one side to go. One more round of breath. Next inhale, left leg reaches high. Start to open the hip, bend the knee, and on your exhale, flip your dog. Both feet down, hips lift up nice and high, fingertips reach back behind you. We have 1 full round of breath in this flipped dog. Next inhale, we unflip, left hand comes down, left leg reaches up. As we exhale, it's our fallen triangle. Left leg comes across the body and under, right fingertips reach high. Foot can either be down or lifted off the mat. Make sure you're using those adductors. 1 round of breath. Next inhale, right hand comes down, left leg reaches up, 3-legged dog. Then exhale, knee to nose, find that crunch. Now keep this crunch, step your left foot forward between your hands, right heel stays up, and we inhale into our crescent lunge. Keep that left hip pulling back, right hip forward, right leg is active. From here, bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And exhale, right elbow to the outside of the left leg, find your prayer twist. Take a moment here to establish your balance, then extend your arms. Right fingertips down, left fingertips up. 1 more round of breath. On our next inhale, we exalt. So bringing the torso upright, left hand comes to the back of the right leg, right fingertips reach up and back. Now as we exhale, keep swimming that right arm back to our warrior 2. Pivoting on that right foot, arms come to our capital T. Inhale, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, reach your left fingertips up and back. Now here comes that cartwheel motion. As we exhale, left arm leads us up and over. Eventually right hand comes down as we shift to our revolved half moon. So right leg lifts off that mat. Right hand is down. We're twisting towards the left side. Take another full round of breath right here. Final inhale. Exhale, Shiva squat, both fingertips down. So that's our moment to balance here. Now as we inhale, we're finding our traditional half moon, our Ardha Chandrasana. Left hand stays down, right leg straightens again, this time opening the hips to the right. Eventually right fingertips reach high, stacking right side over left. Really contract the right side, lengthen the left, maybe hover the left fingertips. Take 1 more inhale here. And then exhale, extended side angle. Bend that left leg, reach the right leg really far back. You can bring the elbow to the knee if you want. Fingertips reach up and over. Keep the contraction in the right side, lengthen the left. 1 round of breath. Next inhale, we stand all the way up, straightening both legs. Pivot the left toes to face the side of the mat. This time for our Prasarita, interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale, reach the hands towards the floor as your chest reaches up. And then exhale, fold forward over the legs. Allow the crown of your head to reach towards the floor. Hands reach for the floor behind your head. We have a few breaths here. Two more rounds of breath. From here, start to bring your hands back to your tailbone. Then gently release your grip, bringing your hands to the floor underneath your face. Inhale is our halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Bring the hands to the hips, stand all the way up. From here, narrow your feet slightly. Then pivot the left toes to face the front of your mat, setting up for triangle. Arms come to our capital T shape. Inhale, start to reach your left fingertips forward, right hip back. And then exhale, tip into the Trikonasana. Try to keep minimal weight on that left hand, so we're truly supporting ourselves with the right side of the body. Take another full round of breath here. Next inhale, we come all the way back up to standing. As we exhale, it's our one-legged Tadasana. So shift your weight towards your left leg, draw your right knee into your chest. From here, bring your left hand to your hip, right hand grabs around the knee or peace fingers to big toe. If you have your peace fingers, stretch your leg forward. Before we move, same motion on this side. Pull your right hip and shoulder back. Keep everything square. On an inhale, we start to carry our leg to the side. Find that kick of toe into hand. Notice if your left hip has twisted towards the right. If so, can you pull it back? Maybe you shift your gaze over to the left. One more round of breath. Bring your gaze back forward. From here, we're working into our tree pose. So guide that leg right away. Foot comes to the inner thigh, calf, whatever feels good. Then bring your hands to heart center. Establish your good tree pose here. Left leg is rooting down. Now, if you're working into the side bend, we extend both arms to the ceiling first. Keep your drishti. From here, right hand comes to the top of the right thigh. Feel that motion of the pushing down into that leg. From here, simultaneously, left hip starts to move left. As the right fingertips move up and over, keep pushing down on the right leg with your right hand. If things don't move in sync, generally you'll tip over. Keep your breath, one more round. On your next inhale, start to bring everything upright simultaneously again. Both fingertips reach high. And then exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, right knee into the chest, one-legged Tadasana. And exhale, right foot meets the left. Mountain pose, hands at the heart. Take one round of breath right here. On our next inhale, reach the arms up nice and high, let the gaze follow. Exhale, hinge forward from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, lengthen the spine. And exhale, take your Vinyasa. It's the final Vinyasa of our practice. So make it exciting. Whatever that means, take an inhale to your up dog and exhale to your down dog. From here, on your next inhale, right leg reaches high. Exhale into your half pigeon. Bring your right knee behind the wrist. Let the left leg come down and relax. From here, once you establish your legs, remember you can always take a block under the hip. Walk your hands back slightly. Inhale to a little back bend. And then exhale, walk yourself forward. Trying to keep your weight evenly distributed between your right and left side. This usually means shifting slightly to the left. Take whatever feels comfortable here with your arms. You have about 5 full breaths. On your next inhale, start to walk your hands back. And then gently just roll over to that right hip. Bring the left leg out and around. We're setting up for our Janu Shirshasana here. So left leg stays long. Right foot comes to the left inner thigh. Bring your right hand or left hand inside the left leg, coming down to the elbow. We're taking our nice side bend here. So inhale, reach your right fingertips high, stack right side over left. And then exhale, reach up and over. Try to anchor your right side down as you simultaneously lift the right side of your rib cage to the ceiling. This is a very active posture, so making sure that you have that engagement in the side, you're creating the stretch for your body. Take about 2 more rounds of breath. On your next inhale, let the right fingertips bring you all the way upright. Plant your palm right behind your right glute and shift into your gate latch to the knee and shin. Left arm sweeps across the body and back. See if you can find a little back bend here. Think heart to the ceiling. Take one more deep inhale here. Then exhale, make your way back the way you went in, sitting down onto your hip. From here, straighten the right leg out in front of you. We're coming to our boat pose. It's surprise boat today. This isn't normally where we do it. So shift your weight to your tailbone, draw your knees into your chest, maybe straighten your legs. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. We cross our legs, roll over the shins, and step back into your downward dog. Take one round of breath in your downward dog. Next inhale, left leg goes high. Exhale, half pigeon. Taking that knee behind the wrist, sliding that right leg back, making whatever adjustments you need. Remember, usually we need to move over to the right with our weight a little bit. Walk your hands back by your hips on an inhale, find a gentle back bend. And then exhale, walk your hands forward, laying over that leg, taking whatever you need on this side. We have about 5 more breaths here. Final round of breath. On your next inhale, start to walk yourself up nice and slow. Gently roll towards your left hip. Right leg comes around, setting up for our revolved Janu Shirshasana on this side. So left foot comes to the right inner thigh, right hand comes inside of the leg down to the elbow. On an inhale, reach your left fingertips high. Then exhale, reach them up and over. Finding your active side bend here. Think about anchoring the left hip, lifting up through the left side of the rib cage. Just feeling that nice side stretch here in the lower part of your torso. Take about 2 more full breaths. Next inhale, left fingertips bring you all the way back up. Plant your hand behind your glute, shift your weight to your knee and shin, find your gate latch. Again, working into that back bend if it's available, shining the heart to the ceiling. Take one more deep inhale. And exhale, make your way back down the way you went in. From here, we'll straighten both legs out in front of us, setting up for our Paschimottanasana, so simple forward fold. Flex both feet, squeeze the legs together. Inhale, reach the arms high. Then exhale, keep your length as you fold forward over the legs. Today, you can either take this as an active forward fold, or if you feel like going passive, you can release the arms and let them drape to the sides of the legs. Let the head hang really heavy, allowing the spine to round. Whether you're active or passive here, you have about 5 more breaths. Final round of breath. On your next inhale, start to roll up nice and slow through the spine, and then keep rolling all the way to your back. So taking your time, utilizing the core to get there. And once you arrive, draw both knees into your chest, and then extend them to the ceiling, working into our legs up the wall a few times today, like on Tuesday. So finding this nice relaxed position in the legs. They can be about hip width distance. There can be a gentle bend in those knees. This is a very passive posture. So you want to find that angle of the legs where you're not having to engage your core and hip flexors to keep them up. Eventually you should feel pretty much a floating sensation with those legs. The hands can go wherever it feels right. We're here for about 4 breaths. Final inhale. Now as we exhale, we'll eagle the legs, right leg over left. So crossing the right leg over, bending both knees. If you want to find a wrap with the foot around the ankle, feel free to do that. From here, arms will come out to a capital T shape. Take an inhale. Then exhale, supine twist, legs go over to the left. So your right leg should be on top, legs tip left. Keep your right shoulder anchored. You can shift your gaze over to the right if that feels good. We have about 5 or so breaths here. Trying to let the feet relax, letting your body feel very heavy, very passive. Final round of breath. And gently start to bring your gaze back to center. Unwind the legs and then bring them back to center. From there, extend your legs to the ceiling again, finding your second round of legs up the wall. Should be a little easier to establish it fast this time since you know where the legs need to go. You have another 5 or so breaths here. Final inhale. As you exhale, eagle the legs, left leg over right. So crossing left thigh over right, finding your wrap with the ankle if you did on the first side. Arms come back to your capital T. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, legs go over to the right. Try to keep your left shoulder heavy. You can shift your gaze over to the left. Again, you have about 5 or 6 breaths here. Make sure your body feels nice and heavy. Final round of breath. Bring your gaze back to center, then gently unwind the legs and bring them back to center. From here, we'll work into our happy baby. So grabbing on the outsides or insides of the feet, knees draw around the rib cage. Make sure the tailbone's really heavy here, so the length of your spine's on the mat. Feel free to rock side to side, maybe straighten the legs, whatever feels good here. This is our final bit of movement before we work into Shavasana. Take about 2 more rounds of breath. From here, start to draw your knees into your chest. And then keeping it very passive today, just let your legs release long onto the mat. Let your arms release down by your sides. Allow the eyes to close. And just start to settle in here. Any thoughts that make your way into the mind, pass without judgment or attachment. Allow the breath to find its natural rhythm. Let the eyes fall back into the socket and the jaw unclench. The tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth. In that same way, work your way down your entire body, letting everything sink deeper into the floor. And for the next few minutes, just enjoy this Shavasana. If you're feeling ready to wake up, start by wiggling your fingers and toes. Start to deepen your breath, bringing all that new movement back into the body. You might rock your head side to side, maybe reach your arms back behind you, finding a good morning stretch. Then when you're ready, keeping your eyes closed, just draw your knees into your chest and make your way to a seat in whatever way feels good. You can move as slow and passively as you want. Once you arrive, bring your hands to heart center and allow your chin to bow. Just take a moment to thank yourself for doing something good for your mind and body for an hour out of your day. The light within me meets, greets, and honors the light within you. Namaste. Great work, you guys. I made it a little bit harder because I figure if I end up driving up on Saturday, advanced yoga won't happen. So there you go.
You didn't do the wide-legged the V-sit.
Did I do that last time? Oh, shoot, I meant to do that.
That's okay.
That one, like V-sit.
No.
It's awful. It's like a L-sit, the way like you would do arm pressure pose, but the legs open and one hand. We can't see your legs, Mom.
Oh.
Here, I'll show you. It's so it's here and then that.
Ah.
It's
One of my favorites.
yeah, sorry. You can do it on your own time.
I'll do it later.
I figured it was hard enough with all the standing balance stuff that we did, so.
It was, and I was spacing out on the first thing and started to do Revolve-Duty to Hasta Patanastasana instead of regular.
Oh.
And then I looked and you were doing regular and it was like, oh shit. I don't know why I did